Yo, what is going on, you guys? It's your boy King Sanders here. We are back with another day of sports betting. This is going to be for Saturday, February 25th slate of NBA action. We have a beautiful little slate on. We have some really good games that I think should be honestly really close, should be really fun to watch overall. So I'm super excited to dive into those matchups. Before we did, I did just want to go ahead and say that we are still currently on the road to 12,000 subscribers. So if you guys are new, make sure that you guys do like, comment, subscribe. Turn on that notification bell so you guys know whenever I post. Next, I did just want to go ahead and give a quick shout out here to all of our members here on the channel. Thank you guys so much for everything that you guys do. And thank you guys so much for giving such a small channel such a big chance, as I always say. It truly does mean the absolute world to me. So much more than you guys will ever know. So, without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive into a quick recap as of yesterday. Not necessarily the greatest day, and it wasn't even necessarily because we had bad reads, we had bad stats, anything like that. So let's go ahead and dive into it. We'll talk about our only win of the day. We did have Trae Young over 35.5 points plus assists. This one really wasn't that big of a sweat bet. This one actually ended up working out pretty easily for us. So Trae Young did end up getting it done here for us. He had 43 points plus assists. It ended up was actually pretty easy for him, and it was kind of just like everything that I had talked about. I thought that the Hawks would end up winning this game, as I had mentioned yesterday. Didn't expect them to win by almost 20, but they did end up beating the Cleveland Cavaliers at home, kind of like how I had expected, and I expected that the one person that was going to step up was Trae Young. He had a big night from both mostly the scoring category, but he did throw in some extra assists too, which is why I was glad I threw in the plus assist as well. And that one ended up working out for us. Then we did end up having Jalen Brunson over 26.5 points here versus the Washington Wizards, and this one ended up losing just because of the fact that, well, Julius Randle had 46 points. Took away just about every scoring opportunity that was from Jalen Brunson, and it's not like Jalen Brunson didn't get any shots. He shot the ball 20 times, but he only finished with 13 points, so definitely a tough scene. Ends up losing that one. Only gets half of what we would need for him to be able to hit his over, so he had a really tough night. Then we did end up having Jordan Poole over 32.5 points plus assists, which was our King's kill shot play of the day, versus the Houston Rockets. I can't even lie. There was no excuse for him not to go over in this one, but instead, Klay Thompson dropped 42. So, with that being said, Jordan Poole still was able to dish out 8 assists, but he shot 5 for 13, and the shots that he was taking, if you guys were watching that game, was abysmal. I'm talking like 6 seconds left on the shot clock, shoots a ridiculous deep shot, turned the ball over, I don't even know how many times. It was a crazy amount of turnovers. It seemed like with travels, bad shots. It was just one thing after another. Jordan Poole just, when it comes to shooting the ball, just did not do a good job. Klay Thompson did everything out there. He hit 12 threes. 12 threes. So Jordan Poole just really didn't do much, but it is what it is. We ended up going 1 and 2 on our plays, but we are bouncing back as of today. We do have 3 plays, and I will say that the consensus play is going to be put on a hold for right now, just because my cappers didn't end up getting back to me. So I have 2 of them. 2 of them, gave me answers, but we are still waiting on the other 2. So I'll go ahead and update that in the pinned comment section and also on my Twitter. So make sure you guys do check out both of those spots, so that way you guys do know exactly whenever I do end up getting it. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive into today's plays. So for our first official play of the day, we're going to be going to the early game. This is going to be the very first game of the day. We are taking Jakob Poeltl over 9.5 rebounds here versus Detroit at minus 105 odds. Now, if you guys take a look at Jakob Poeltl last game, crushed this line. He only played in 30 minutes in the game and still ended up having 18 rebounds. Yes, pretty much doubling this line. So Jakob Poeltl had a monstrous game last game, and while I don't expect him to get 18 rebounds again, I'd love it if he did, but even if he didn't end up getting that, I do still expect him to get to 10. This is going to be the early game, and we all know that the early games in the NBA a lot of times are led to lots of missed shots. So with that being said, I think that Jakob Poeltl is going to see a boost in his rebounds due to that reason alone. But not to mention, the Pistons, they allow the 3rd most rebounds per game to opposing centers and the 5th most rebounds per game to opposing centers in the last 15. So even with Jalen Duren being as good as he is, and shifting over to that starting center position, it has not mattered because they have still given up the 5th most rebounds per game in the last 15 games. And he is going to be on Jalen Duren, who is a more inside center than anything else. So Jakob Poeltl is going to be spending a lot of time around the rim, getting a lot of those missed shots, getting a lot of those garbage rebounds. So I think that Jakob Poeltl does end up having a pretty good game here. And with the spread only being +7 for the Pistons, something tells me that there's a world that this game could stay close. I don't know if it will, but +7 just kind of seems like there's a world that the Pistons could be kind of scrappy in this one. Keep it close. It's the early games. The early games are just really weird in general. So I'm trying to play it a little bit more safe here. But I really do love the look here. So we're going to be riding with it here for our first official play of the day. Jakob Poeltl over 9.5 rebounds here versus Detroit at -105 odds. Now for our second official play of the day, we're going to be taking Ja Morant over 36.5 points plus assists here versus Denver at -105 odds. Now, Ja Morant hasn't been good. There's no hiding it. If you go ahead and search up Ja Morant log in StatMuse, you can go ahead and take a look at it. Ja Morant has not been good here recently. He's gone under in 3 straight games, but this is a big game. This is a big game versus one of their interconference rivals in the Denver Nuggets, and I think that he does have to step up today. And one of the weak spots in Denver's defense, as great of a defense as they are, one of the weak spots in this defense is that point guard position, just because Jamal Murray is not necessarily the greatest defensive player. Also, Denver does allow the 5th most points per game to opposing point guards and the 2nd most assists per game to opposing point guards. So they've been giving up a ton of points. They've been giving up a ton of assists to that point guard position. And Ja Morant has gone over in 2 straight versus Denver, so he has seen success versus this Denver roster, and I don't expect anything to change. I think that we do see more success from Ja Morant here again tonight. He also does average more points per game and assists per game at home, which is going to be where this game ends up taking place. I love the look here for Ja Morant. I think that he has a bounce back. This is the bounce back that he needs. This is the bounce back that he is going to get. I truly do believe that. Now, if you are looking at any sort of a pivot, I probably wouldn't go PRAs. The only reason I would suggest not going to PRAs is strictly for the fact that Jamal Murray does love to shoot. And with that being said, it could draw Ja Morant out to the 3-point line. So I wouldn't add in PRAs, but I love his points. I love his assists. So if you're going with either of those, I think that both of them are a very good play. So that is going to be our second official play of the day. Ja Morant over 36.5 points plus assists here versus Denver. Now for our third and final play of the day, we're going to be going back to one of our OGs. So if you guys have been around the channel here for a while, you guys know exactly who I'm going to. But this guy won us so much money when I started off on YouTube. We're going back to him. Wendell Carter Jr. over 24.5 points plus rebounds here versus Indiana at -125 odds. Now, since the Mo Bamba trade, this Wendell Carter Jr. has slid back into the starting center position. And truthfully, the Magic have been running a very normal rotation. They don't have the Wendell Carter Jr. at the 4 rotation anymore. They've been playing him at the 5, which is where he really started off at. So I do like Wendell Carter Jr. here. Now that he is back in his natural position, I think this is a great spot to go ahead and hit his over. He has gone over in 3 out of his last 5 games, and he's also gone over in 4 straight here versus Indiana, so he has seen the success versus this team as well. And the Pacers, they do allow the 5th most points per game to opposing centers, so as good of a defensive player that Miles Turner is, it really just hasn't mattered. He's still given up the 5th most points per game to opposing centers, and they've also given up the 2nd most rebounds per game to opposing centers. So they've been giving up a ton of stats to that center position, and for some reason, I can't really explain it, but for some reason, centers that can shoot the ball play really good against the Pacers. I really don't know how to really explain it, but if you go look up the center log versus the Pacers, for some reason, stretch bigs play really good against the Pacers, and I think that we see that once again here. Indiana is also 8th in pace, so this should speed up the game, get more rebound opportunities, and more opportunities to score the basketball with a fast-paced Indiana offense. And not to mention, Indiana is 22nd in defensive efficiency, so it's not like they're a great defense in general, but in the last 3, they've been even worse. So I really do like this one here for a third and final play of the day. Wendell Carter Jr. over 24.5 points plus rebounds here versus Indiana at -125 odds. So that is going to do it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you guys do like, comment, subscribe, turn on that notification bell so you guys know whenever I post. Like I said, we are still currently on the road to 12,000 subscribers. So if you guys are new, make sure that you guys are subbed. But that's going to do it for me. This is King Sander signing out. Peace.